you kidding me? Here's a shot that McRae, they score! McRae shoots, he scores! Saskatchewan's Robert Church has 13 points in 3 games, while Albany's Colton Watkinson has 5 assists in 2 games. They square off next. Week 6 of the NLL season continues from Albany, New York, where tonight from MVP Arena, the capital city, the Saskatchewan Rush, coming off its first win against Vancouver, collides with the Albany FireWolves, competing in its 3rd contest this season. It's great to have you with us tonight. Dave Leto and Andy Towers on the call. Ashley Miller will join us shortly. We've already had some thrilling results in Week 6 across the league. Last night, Colorado had a great comeback over Vancouver. In fact, the Mammoth were down 10-2, then stormed back to win 18-15. Earlier today, Philadelphia Wings won 12-11 in overtime thanks to a Blaze Reardon winner in OT, while Thompson also had 5 goals in that game. We'll check in on the other matchups too, including the Buffalo-Toronto game, where both teams are searching for their 3rd win. A gargantuan trade went down a few days ago. The FireWolves acquired 1,000-point scorer Ryan Benesh from Panther City in exchange for Johnny Pearson and 2 draft picks. Andy, what do you make of the move and how Albany plans to fit Benesh into the team?
Well, I think Albany certainly struggled to have it find its identity in the first game against the Nighthawks a few weeks back. I think they're really depending on Ryan Benesh to improve their quality of shots that they're going to be generating in 5-on-5. The power play, certainly his experience as a playmaker should hopefully help O'Connor, Q, Resiteritz get on track.
On the other side, Mark Matthews leads the Rush with 15 points. He's tallied 5 100-point seasons. What's allowed him to be so consistent since his college playing days at Denver?
Well, you know, obviously his size jumps out of you at 6'5", 230 pounds. This guy is a wrecking ball, Dave. You know, you factor that in that he can score with consistency. He has the ability to make his teammates better as a feeder. We're looking at one of the very best players in the league.
The face-off between the Rush and the FireWolves from Albany is coming up next. Welcome back to MVP Arena as the Albany FireWolves are getting set to take on the Saskatchewan Rush. The Rush looking for their 2nd victory this season, coming off a 10-9 win over Vancouver. Let's go down now to Ashley Miller with Ryan Benesh. Ashley.
Ryan, Albany trades for you earlier this week. It's an offense that struggled, 8 goals a game and 2 losses. What do you hope to bring to this team?
You know, it's my job to get the ball in net. So, you know, I've been in this league a long time. I pride myself on scoring goals, so it's definitely my job, and I hope to do that tonight.
Good luck tonight. Welcome to Albany. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. It's his 8th different team. That definitely possesses a challenge for Benesh and Albany moving forward. Now time for the guaranteed rate goaltenders for tonight's match, beginning with Adam Schutt of the Rush. He's 7th in the league in goals against average. Last year, he backed up Evan Kirk, who was Saskatchewan's #1, dating back to 2018. He's coming off a respectable performance against Vancouver, where he made 34 saves and only allowed 9 goals, despite Keegan Ball and Mitch Jones getting their points. To the opposite cage, Doug Jamieson is in his 5th NLL season, coming off a strong campaign with New England during the 1920 campaign. He's looking for a bounce-back performance, though, after allowing 16 goals to Rochester in the FireWolves game. The team was down big 8-2 early in the 2nd quarter of that contest, so they're looking for a stronger start tonight amid the home faithful.
Yeah, I really hope that Albany's going to be able to avoid penalties. You know, last game when they played the Nighthawks, it really hurt them when they were consistently on the power penalty kill.
Joe Nardella and Mike Messenger for Albany and Saskatchewan, respectively, will have the face-off. The crew chief tonight is Mark Gardonio. The assistant referee, Andrew Elkstone, and Mark Thompson, the shot clock official, is Matt Hines. Albany wins the draw. We're off and running from MVP Arena. Early chance here for Malcolm inside, and Albany scores just 12 seconds in.
You know, again, Joe Nardella just gives the FireWolves such an advantage at the X. When he's able to control the ball and they're able to get offensive possessions off of his wins, it's going to be a differentiator and something that certainly the Rushes has to be concerned with during the game.
And Joshua Nishimura deposits his 2nd goal of the season. A fantastic start, just like Albany dialed up, right?
Yeah, I mean, these are the type of goals that present themselves all the time in this game due to the boards, the ball staying in play. And you just look at how opportunistic Nishimura was that time, crashing the net at the shot and getting a layup as a result.
In your conversations, Andy, with Albany's head coach Glenn Clark, what does he want to see continue to finally get that first win for the organization?
Well, I think one of the keys that he said when we spoke to him this week is he wanted to be a little bit less robotic on the offensive end. He wanted to be able to balance the schemes that they put in place, but also empower their players to use their creativity to generate high-quality opportunities.
Albany team coming in at 0-2. They got their own players out there. Here's Ressa Terrence on the right. Trying to swim inside, got that seal. Ressa Terrence over the top. There's another. A fantastic start for the FireWolves. 2-0 thanks to the Ressa Terrence goal.
So you look at that shot, it does an unbelievable job of really telegraphing a far right pipe shot, only to pull it back to the left pipe. Again, the ability of these guys to utilize deception along with a quick release and placement is what makes them the best shooters on the planet.
You made a great point prior to the start of tonight's broadcast. And for those that can focus in on the eyes, and I know sometimes that can be hard watching from home, but the deception that these players have, describe that when a player goes to shoot, particularly on that over-the-top shot, or it could be a twister, how they deceive the defending players and also the goals.
Well, it's so critical given the size of the goalies and also how small the actual goalie is that you got to get the goalies to try to lean one way or the other to open up where you're eventually going to shoot. That was an example where he really showed that he was going to shoot to the right pipe, catches Adam Shoot leaning a little bit to the left side, creates a little more opportunity on the far pipe, and sure enough, he took it.
So it's a 2-0 start for Albany. See how the Rush respond here. The Saskatchewan's trying to improve to 2-2 on the young season. They're being coached tonight by their general manager, Derek Keenan. He's on the bench. He's obviously been the head coach for a number of years. Jeff McComb, who is the head coach, did not make the trip to the capital city.
Certainly seems like the FireWolves are coming out with a little more purpose in this game than they had against the Nighthawks. We'll see if they can reap the rewards of that.
And here comes Albany in transition once more with Nardella, getting men out the O-door. So they have numbers here. Rush got to get back defensively, right? Trying to shore up their defensively. Different from what they've done in the prior 3 games. Ressa Terrence, so that pick and roll there. That goes off the pipe. That rang off of Andrew Q-Stick.
Generating some good high-quality shots early here, Dave. That one hit the pipe. He actually had Shoot beat, but hit the pipe.
Tristan Rye was trying to beat Jamison to no avail. What have you made of Doug Jamison through a couple of starts for Albany?
Well, I think last game against the Nighthawks was a little tough for him. A lot of the shots that he saw were right on top of him, right in front of the goal. And speaking with Coach Clark this week, that was certainly going to be a concern of theirs to make sure they take away the inside first and try to limit these teams to shooting from the outside. If they do, they think they're giving Dougie the best chance to make the saves.
There's a Terrence working the right. Also have Q out there. And Rue, shot clock violation, will go back to the Rush. Now, the flip side for Saskatchewan, what do you think has gone wrong or maybe problematic at the start of the year? And more importantly, what do they need to improve upon defensively moving forward?
Well, I think you look at this team, and I think their identity is really as a defensive team first. They did lose 2 close 1-goal games and were able to flip that result in their last game against the Warriors. But this is a team that could easily be 3-0, but they're sitting at 1-2. It's a 1-goal game league, Dave. It really is.
Look out for that 3-headed monster of Keenan, Church, and Matthews for the Rush tonight. Thompson jetting inside over Rye, and that's blocked down by Shoot. That's going to be halted for just a moment. And a penalty is upcoming. Again, our crew chief is Mark Gardonio. Look at Albany's Glenn Clark's been a model of consistency wherever he's coached, including in New England, where he led the Black Wolves to the playoffs every year. And his team was in first before the season had to be shut down back in 2020. But now, as Andy has dissected, is to bring that pedigree to Albany. Let all that previous winning translate to the floor. On the opposite side, we mentioned Derek Keenan relinquished the head coaching duties, but tonight he is the head coach in place of Jeff McComb, who's been on his staff for a number of years. They hope to rekindle the runs that the Rush had back in 2015, 16, and 18, leading the titles.
Yeah, you're looking at the team that was the best in the NLL for the last 5-6 years, and they're going to have their hands full with an inspired Albany team. But you got to believe these early opportunities that the FireWolves have created the rush is going to be focused on clamping those down and trying to minimize it. Let's see what can happen in this power play.
Here comes Albany with 4 in the box defensively for Saskatchewan. Terrence on that right-hand side. He'll get it back here. And it's stopped there by Shoot. Reads it perfectly.
Yep. It's right on top of it. Those situations where they're shooting not quite from the middle of the floor, you're going to see these sidearm shots. These guys are winding up. They want to sell the far side, and if the goalie leans at all, they're going to take it down the near side pipe. And if they don't lean, they're going to try to beat him to a spot. That time it looked like he pulled his shot a little bit, and Shoot was able to jump all over it.
Albany is 6th in the league in the power play. 10th in penalty kill is the rush. Brett Mandy's going to come off here and get the O guys here on the power play for the FireWolves, up 2-0. If you're just joining us, a terrific start. Nishimura and Terrence with 2 early goals in the first minute. Goal scored, in fact, 12 seconds in over the top shot fired wide again by Thompson. We'll stay on this end, though, for the FireWolves.
I think one of the things that you're going to look for the FireWolves to do is to try to create more of an inside presence, particularly in the power play here. They were a little quick to settle for outside shots in their last game, and I think what you do, if you're not holding the defense accountable to cover up the inside, you end up having to take shots a little farther out than you'd like.
Soroketti was going towards the quarter board, and the rush escape out of this. Here's Spears. Spears is going to come off at a change, get those O guys out the front door with Ryan Keenan, who has 2 goals and 10 assists.
Seems like Albany's had the ball for the vast majority of the first part of this game, Dave. And they really need to settle in, get the ball to Mark Matthews, and try to settle in offensively.
They look all in defensively, as you pointed out as well. The stop by Jamison. Here's the rebound attempt, looking for Keenan inside. But Albany picks it up to go the other way in transition.
Transition is certainly a concern for Coach Keenan coming to this game. He understands that the FireWolves athletically present a unique challenge. He really stressed the importance of getting out the back door of the subbing game and being real clean.
He was looking for Q that time. The diagonal pass to no avail, and the rush pick up with it the opposite way now with Cornwall.
The challenge is going to be for the rush. If they're not getting the ball that much, they're going to have to be poised when they do get it and come down and make sure that they're valuing possession. You can't string together, 3, 4, 5 possessions of a really short time. Otherwise, you're going to be playing defensively all game.
You mentioned that Colton Watkinson has been big in front of Doug Jamison. He just came off and looking for a huge performance out of him tonight, especially with this 2-goal advantage. Terrence had an advantage for a moment, was looking inside over the top, and the shot is good. And it's 3-0 Albany in this dream start. O'Connor adds 1.
Coach Clark's got to be really happy with Riley O'Connor scoring early in the game. He leads the team with 22 shots coming into this game, but shooting percentage has been an area where he can improve. To get off to a great start, it's going to give the FireWolves a lot of confidence.
It's the 2nd goal this season for O'Connor, tied 2nd coming in total points. That over-the-top shot. And Sorry Shoot is having a little bit of trouble. He and his defenseman so far at this game. That's a terrific shot with a low percentage shot from the outside.
Well, and what happens is the key there. Joe Terrence takes it to the corner, rolls back, skip passes up top. Riley O'Connell steps in, gets a good quick release from the middle of the field. A lot of goal to shoot at, certainly made it count.
I'll tell you what was fascinating to watch earlier in the Wings-Georgia game. So many outside shots banged home by Philadelphia with their size, versatility, their adept shooting, like you're pointing out here with Albany, too, and O'Connor. That was just great to watch this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's critical, again, for these teams to really make their presence felt on the inside. Get the defense to collapse around the perimeter. Instead of maybe taking 15-yard shots, you're stepping in, you're taking 8, 9-yard shots. Obviously, those are a little easier to make count.
Rue was seemingly walking in 1v1 with Shoot. Opted to release about 15 yards away. There's the stop by Shoot. Here comes Dilks the opposite way. The Rush desperately need to get on the board here.
They need to get a little depth in their possession. Shoot a little too early, you're going to end up playing defense again, and here we go. Not to mention, you run the risk of giving up FireWolves transition, which is where they're at their best.
Watkinson fires wide on that 2v1. Rush coming the opposite way. I think this end-to-end game so far, Andy, is favoring Albany just with the pace that we're seeing them playing at home.
There's no question about it. You marry that up with the fact that Nards should dominate the face-offs. They're going to be playing a lot of defense, the Rush are, unless they can start to take some momentum on the offensive end.
Here's Keenan, got that seal inside, hit his own man. It's going to come out only 5 seconds here on the shot clock. Rush need to hurry here. This left-hand side, low shot by Church, scooped up by Jamison.
Just a great stop by Jamison right there. You saw the high fake, low finish, and he was on top of it.
Jakowski is going to come off, one of the better defensive players for this Albany team. And here's Ressa Terrence on that right-hand side. Get the seal in the middle. There's going to be a call away for the ball. Looks like an illegal pick is going to be called against Albany, but a dream start here for the FireWolves. Nishimura, 12 seconds in, deposits the first goal tonight. Terrific start amid Adam shooting, following in his footsteps. Ressa Terrence, then O'Connor. 3-0 Albany at the start. The NLL on ESPN is brought to you by NLLshop.com, the Fanatics experience, officially license everything. And by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate, believe you will. With Andy Towers and Ashley Miller, Dave Leto on the call. It's great to have you with us as Albany is off to a great start. If you're just joining us, they lead 3-0 over the Rush. The Rush seem to have an inability getting inside. Albany stout on defense, but how about the offensive surge at the upstart tonight for the FireWolves?
You know, great shooting certainly makes you feel like you're doing everything the right way. You look at the shots that they've scored. They've just beaten the goalie to open spots, and if you force the goalie to have to move to make the save, and you marry that up with deception, you really put a lot of pressure on goalies, and that's exactly what the FireWolves have done to Adam Shute tonight so far.
Marshall Palace was also out there for one of his first opportunities. On the opposite way, it's Ressa Terrence, got the seal, jetting inside, Shute said no. Back the opposite way here for the Rush. Still needing a goal. Beers is going to stay out there. There's a shot from Keenan, and that was an easy one from Jamison. And again, it seems to me that Albany allowing these outside shots right on Jamison, but they're not letting anybody come inside amid the crease so far.
Exactly right. You know, they're doing a great job. The FireWolves doing a great job of checking up from the back first. And the Rush have gotten their shots, but they just haven't taken high-quality shots. The shot generation is high quality, but they've hit Jamison in the chest 3-4 times. Whereas you look at the shots that the FireWolves have scored on, and those have been to spots.
So Nartella is going to be in the box for a delay of game. So Saskatchewan, for the first time, is going to go on the power play. They're 5th in the league at the power play at that. Keep an eye on Matthews at the top. Keenan is on the left-hand side. Here's Church. Matthews on the man advantage. Keenan with a bouncer, stopped by Jamison.
The penalty kill is an area where FireWolves needed to get a lot better. They had a lot of penalties against the Nighthawks and certainly paid for that, but that was a good penalty kill to start the game.
Keenan was looking down low. Dunk opportunity could be banged home there for Littner.
Got to be careful that they're not giving them a lot of extra possessions, particularly when they're in a man-down situation here.
Matthews orchestrating things in the offensive zone along with Keenan. Matthews setting the seal and over-the-top shot. Jamison's looked good to this point. A little over 5 minutes left in the first frame. Here's that outlet, shorthanded. Another chance here for Albany. And that fired is wide by Andrew Q on that reverse whip.
Yeah, just a great time to shoot it behind his back. You know, he felt like as a lefty coming in there, going behind his back, was going to maybe exploit the positioning of Adam Shute. To his credit, he was able to make the save long away.
For the box defensively here for the FireWolves. Matthews again. Left-hand side, Church. Jamison stands his ground yet again between the pipes.
Really seems to be seeing the ball well tonight. It's off to a great start, Jamison.
Matthews, that ricochets wide.
He's got an advantage if they can push it here. This is where Albany's at their best.
Ishimura over to Watkinson for that crease dive.
Second pipe. But again, they got the hustle, the follow-up, first to the ball. You get those second and third chance opportunities in this league. That's where you end up scoring a lot of easy goals.
And I'll tell you, Andy, the outlets tonight from the back all the way forward to the offensive zone have been really clean so far for Albany.
Well, it's clear that they're hunting transition. That both Coach Clark and Coach Keenan expressed, from Coach Keenan, certainly concerned about the athleticism that the FireWolves presented in transition. And Coach Clark knows that that's an advantage they have to exploit against every team that they play this year.
It's going to be a shot clock violation here as the shot does go wide for Albany in that circumstance. Good defense by Ryan Dilks. Take another timeout here. Albany is trying to excel in transition, and they're getting it done tonight. It's a 3-0 score line. Watkinson with the opportunity here. He couldn't cash in, but Albany likes to see this flourish throughout this one. Back in a moment. Welcome back to MVP Arena. 4:03 to go in the first. It's Albany with a 3-0 start. Let's go down to Ashley Miller with Coach Clark. Ashley.
Coach, we talked about getting this offense going. What have you liked about what your guys have been able to do so far?
I've really liked the spacing and the patience. They've stayed wide. They've let the game come to them, and we've done a much better job ball movement, spacing, and just composure from the offensive group.
Thank you very much. Good luck the rest of the way. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. What do you make of the ball movement and the spacing so far from Albany at the start?
You know, they really seem to be connected. Obviously, in watching the film of the Rochester game, they saw that they were pressing a little bit, and they look comfortable. Albany looks comfortable. When you're comfortable running your offense, it leads to shots that the players feel like they can hit. And sure enough, they're off to a great start in terms of their shooting percentage. And the challenge now is to be able to keep it up and stay patient, knowing that the Rush are going to make a change in the way that they're attacking the FireWolves offense.
Delayed call coming up here against Albany as Matthews tried to go diagonal there in the vicinity of Church. FireWolves finally touch up on it, and Saskatchewan's going to go back on the man advantage with 3:30 to go in the first frame.
The Rush look like they're pressing a little bit. They just do.
Here's the call.
For 72, 2 minutes, holding the stick.
Sorketti's going to go in the box for holding the stick, and another power play chance here for the Rush.
This is going to be a huge opportunity for the Rush to get on the game, break the momentum that the FireWolves have created here, and at the same time, the FireWolves have an opportunity. If they can get another successful penalty kill, this should put a lot of additional pressure on the Rush.
It's fired wide there by Robert Church and high. Jamison has it. Here's the outlet.
You really want to see them hunt transition, but not irresponsibly, right? One of the keys that Coach Keenan talked about was getting out the back door cleanly to limit the transition. So it's one thing if you have the opportunity, it's another thing to force it to be there, right? You want to hunt it, but you don't want to force it to be there. That leads to poor shots and fast possessions and transition the other way, ultimately.
Connor was looking for that two-man game. See if they get it here. It's going to be a shot clock violation on Albany. They just try to do a nice job with this penalty kill, and back to the Rush here.
Little theatrics there.
There's going to be another penalty. Looks like two guys are going to go. These are going to be offsetting. And the Rush aren't going to be too pleased at that from Holton Garland out of Canisius.
You know, Albany with a 3-0 lead, you really want to make sure that you're not falling into that stuff.
Looks like Durston's headed to the box. Should be another for Saskatchewan as well.
White, 2 minutes, delay of game. Albany, 2 minutes, hold. Yes, white ball.
So delay of game and a holding call. There's a great shot by our crew there as to why the call was made. Garland wasn't happy.
No, but Garland was clearly agitating right there. You know, he made a point to, to stir it up, and from the Rush's standpoint, to break the momentum. It's not bad gamesmanship right there, Dave.
So it's still 5-4 in favor of Saskatchewan with the man advantage. They're trying to go inside. The reverse shot is wide for Church. There's Palace now. And their man up here, Matthews, at the top. Looking down, just missing. We'll get another crack at it, though, Andy.
The Rush need to get Mark Matthews going here, whether it's as a feeder or as a shooter.
Keenan, there was too much traffic in front of him, and as Andy has alluded to, strong start for Jamison in the game. It's a 3-0 Albany lead.
He's playing very, very well. And I also got to commend, obviously, the defense of the FireWolves, both in the penalty kill and in 5-on-5 situations. They've done a good job of taking away the inside, which is where they got exploited in their last game versus the Nighthawks.
You're right. Bomberry, Mann, Watkinson, and others have been strong. That over-the-top shot that ricochets off of Shoot from Ressa Terrence.
Good job by Adam Shoot, stepping out, minimizing the angle, got just enough of it on the shoulder to make the save.
You can see also the concerted effort to get Cornwall in transition too. They need to see more of that for the Rush moving forward. Get game day ready and shop your favorite team's jerseys and merchandise. Head to NLLshop.com to get all your National Lacrosse League and team gear today. Another penalty is going to be coming onto the field. We'll check in with our crew chief, Mark Ardonia. 1:34 to go in our first quarter from MVP Arena. So Albany's looking for their first win of the season.
See what he says here.
Albany penalty to be served by the in-home. 2 minutes illegal substitution.
It's a credit box, Andy.
It is. There's no question about it. You would think, you know, these days they wouldn't want them that close to each other. Right, Dave?
I don't think so, but they're going to only have to defend with 3 now, Albany. Comes a man out of the box, but there's the first goal tonight for Saskatchewan. And they needed to get on the board with Matthews and company. Finally, they get the goal from Dan Littner, and it's a 3-1 game as Littner has the first tally for the Rush.
Cornell product. He's a scary, scary finisher. Certainly that was a great look to the backside from Keenan. Yeah, it was just a matter of time before the Rush were going to be able to exploit this opportunity, and there's the one-timer to the back pipe. Jamieson has to stay ball side here with Keenan. Keenan looks off the shot, throws a quick overhand pass to Littner on the backside. He doesn't catch it in cradle. He gets rid of it right away. Dougie can't get cross cage. Sure enough, 3-1. This has to be a concern for Albany. You know, they've had, what, 2 or 3 penalties right here, and it's created opportunities for the Rush, and they were able to capitalize. You got to make sure that you're not falling into situations where you lose your discipline.
We've dissected how good Saskatchewan is on the power play. Get a power play goal here, but how do you settle the guys down after a great start? They're revved up. They were up 3-0, and now it's a 3-1 game from the Albany perspective.
You know, I think you got to stress the challenge of being disciplined and not falling into the antics that will allow you to end up in the penalty box. And these guys got to realize that disciplined, tough players are the ones that walk away from that stuff, understanding the goal is to win the game, not win the moment.
Cornwall again pushing in transition for the Rush. And it's a 3-1 game now.
45 seconds left here. Let's see what the Rush can do to finish out the first quarter. They really would love to add another.
Palace, that low drive stopped there by Jamieson once more. Ball again away from the ball.
You know, it was a great stop. I'm not sure that Dougie saw the release there. It looked like it hit him before he realized that the shot was being taken, and that's the strength of shooting behind screens.
Gonna have a flurry of substitutions here, get some more offensive guys out there for the Rush. Ball looks like it's gonna stay in this end of the offensive zone for Saskatchewan. They're resetting the game clock now to 36 seconds, we're being told. It's a Rush team, as Andy and I have said. They've been in some very close games. It's a familiar situation right off the top. 3 one-goal games. Back-to-back losses were suffered to Halifax and Calgary, and as we've mentioned a few times, that win over Vancouver, who had a great start last night. Andy, they were up 7-0 at 4 minutes in. Bouquet was great in the beginning. Things went a little south, and Colorado won that game 18-15.
Yeah, it just goes to show you it's a game of runs. Whether they're extreme runs, the way that Colorado game was, or whether they were 2 or 3 goal runs, the way that the Wings and Georgia game was today.
There's Palace, see if the Rush can add another with 9 seconds to go in the first. Pass Malcolm, chance here for the Rush. First, a shot clock violation. Play should be halted, and it will here. We'll go back to Albany.
Really see the FireWolves right there, stepping out, putting pressure on the Rush, trying to make their athleticism dictate the outcome of the situation. Worked out well for them that time.
6 seconds are going to go on the clock here for the FireWolves, and they're going to pull Jamieson to get an extra offensive player out there. And here we go. 3 seconds here for Ressa Terrence. Going to take matters in his own hands and over the top shot. Stopped there by Schutz. And that will end the first frame on a terrific start tonight for Albany at home.
Yeah, I think the first 3 quarters of that period certainly went exactly as the FireWolves would draw up. But again, they're, these penalties and allowing their opponents, Nighthawks last game, the Rush this game, to have a lot of power play opportunities is going to yield goals. So they've got to make sure they keep the discipline. And at the same time, the Rush has got to continue to play aggressive if they can continue to.
Start of the second quarter across the league, and tonight in Albany, players are wearing specially designed orange Every Child Matters warm-up shirts, paying tribute to those who attended Indigenous residential schools, as well as children who are being discovered in various residential schools across Canada, boarding schools throughout the United States who didn't make it home as well. This is part of the NLL Unites program as the league continues its community and social responsibility programs. As Dave Soden of the Halifax Thunderbirds said, if not for the resiliency of First Nations people across Canada and the U.S., we not be enjoying the fact that we can take part in this great game. A terrific initiative, and we're going to continue the cause with this Every Child Matters movement.
Yeah, such an important thing to be aware of. Really, supersedes the importance of the game, obviously. It's something that the league is taking very seriously, and it's great to see.
Yeah, shout out to the Halifax Thunderbirds who started that with Ragosa and Soden on their staff. A remarkable job. So starting this second quarter, Dave Little, Andy Towers, and Ashley Miller. So our reporter, it's great to have you with us tonight. Okay. Albany getting 3 goals by Nishimura, Terrence, and O'Connor just joining us. The Rush only got Littner on the board. So what do you want to see from the Saskatchewan perspective to get back in this game?
Albany
they get the power play
delay
goal.
game.
As we're going to get a power play here upcoming on the floor. But what do you want to see from the Rush's perspective moving forward?
I think that they've got to, number one, they've got to shoot a little bit more discipline.
Call coming up against Benesh for a delay of game, so the newly required Benesh is going to go in the box.
I think the Rush has done a better job of creating some high-quality opportunities. You really want to see him put a little bit more pressure on Jamison by shooting along the pipes. It looks like they've let him off the hook a little bit, shooting in the middle of the goal, and doesn't have to move too much if that's where they're putting their shots.
Watkinson gets nailed there by Beers. He's going to get up, and he's going to go back to the bench, get another player out there for this Albany team, who's on the penalty kill right now, shorthanded. Durston, that low drive with the bouncer, scooped up here for Saskatchewan. And here they come with a power play, just where they want to be.
It just seems like when Albany has the opportunity to separate, score another opportunity, it seems like they end up back on the penalty kill. And you give a team like this with Mark Matthews at the point opportunities, they're going to end up making you pay. Good thing Jamison's playing a great game. That was another great save for him, blowing away.
Long outlet, the opposite of the floor. Wow, that crease dive just went wide. Chance for Terrence, and he almost cashed in.
Well, look at this here now. 22 seconds left in the power play. I think you're going to look for Mark Matthews to generate an opportunity up top. I think the last time he shot low, I wouldn't be surprised to see him show right pipe, shoot left pipe, or the opposite here.
Malcolm played the top. There's the spin move. Church, the crease dive denied again. Jamison.
What a stop.
Denying Littner. There's another outlet. Nishimura looking for another. Goes low. Shoot is there.
Those are the opportunities, Dave, where if they go in, you think, wow, what a great decision. If they don't go in, you're back playing defense. Again, it really can be frustrating if those things add up over time.
There's that reverse whip pass. Looking in front of Littner yet again, who's been very busy. Here comes another outlet in transition. Another chance and a goal! Ryan Benesh, welcome to Albany with his first goal in a FireWolves uniform.
Well,
and it's a 4-1 game.
During his interview with Ashley, he said, I'm a goal scorer. That's where I want to make my impact. You come down here, obviously the play before, they didn't capitalize. That time they do. Every time you score in a transition, particularly these one-on-one situations, it's just such a shot in the arm for the bench.
Andy, I'll say it again, and it bears repeating. The outlets in transition, yes, they're taking their chances. They know when to be composed, but they're getting odd man rushes the opposite way, and they're delivering.
Well, one of the concerns that Coach Keenan had was making sure they would clean out the back door to limit the transition for the FireWolves. And it just seems like there's been 4 or 5 opportunities where there have been 2-on-1s or 1-on-1s. Watkinson had 2 and hit 2 pipes, and that time Benesh was able to put it away.
Watkinson again has continued his surge in that transition game. See if the Rush have an answer for that moving forward. Swimming inside. Here's a chance. And finally Matthews gets on the board. They need more of him moving forward. It's a 2-goal game.
You know, another opportunity where they're coming down the middle of the field, and Jamison has to honor that shot selection, and then a quick pass and a one-timer beats Jamison before he can get back to the left pipe. Again, you see the experience of a proven goal scorer, one of the best in the world, Mark Matthews. What a play.
That ball was swinging very efficiently here for Saskatchewan moving forward. A great play by Messenger right down the middle to whip it over to Matthews on that one time.
Great shovel pass. See so much of it in this game.
6th goal for Mark Matthews, the 2018 MVP. 13 goals, 41 assists in the 19-20 campaign. Before that was the shutdown, and he beat Jamison there. It's now 4-2.
So they've played a lot of defense, the FireWolves have. You think in order to take control of the pace of play here, you know, you gotta settle down a little bit unless you have an odd man transition advantage. If you do, then obviously going to push those. But if you don't, you know, just to break the momentum that the Rush seem to have seized here, you know, you got to be selective in the shots that you're going to take.
That was a huge hit by Dill. See if that can galvanize the Rush moving forward. 11:29 to go. There's that reverse whip wide from Littner yet again. It seems like Dan Littner a few times is able to cash in. He has 1 goal tonight.
Well, it was a great time for a behind-the-back shot. It increases his angle. It makes sense. That and a quick release gets it on goal. It's a hard thing to pick up.
There's Q. Looking for that diagonal pass, rings off pipe yet again for the FireWolves.
Third pipe. Yep. Third pipe. It shows that they're, you know, beating the goalie to spots. They're just off by 1.5 inches. Which in this game is the difference between a goal or no goal.
He's going for the twister there. That time Jamison wasn't full. It's going to stay on this end for the Rush, and Beers, he's going to come off, get those O guys out the front door for Saskatchewan, down by 2. Courier came over from the wings. A trade with McIntosh, who went off today in Philly. Towards the midboards, they were searching for Church. Loose stick.
Second lost stick in the last 30 seconds here, Dave.
It was Littner.
Rush seems like they've gained a little bit more confidence in their offense. They've settled down a little bit, are putting together these 3, 4, 5 pass combinations that make teams so dangerous in this league, where ball movement and shot, quick shot release are so important.
I think that's a great point. You can see that extra pep in their step, a little bit fire, and the way they're getting in transition may be different for the first 2 games for Albany, but there's Church getting on the board. It's now a 1-goal game all of a sudden, thanks to Robert Church scoring his 6th goal of the season.
Again, you set a ball pick from the inside out. You got the right-handed player stepping off the ball pick, maximizes his angle, and beats him with a low-bound shot. 5-goal. Looks like 5-goal.
Got that seal nice by Mallory. Church delivers. Look at that, some space on the inside. They got to the middle, which you and I said Saskatchewan did not do in quarter number 1. Getting to the middle more effectively there, and it's a 4-3 game.
Goal is so much bigger in the middle of the field than it is with the angle. You factor in how padded up these goalies are, you really have to hunt the middle of the field to take a little bit of pressure off the shooters.
All right, so right now it's a 2-0 run for Saskatchewan. What do you want to see from the Albany side defensively to shore up things back there in front of Jamison?
You know, I think they have to get back to what they were doing in terms of, I like them pressuring out on the Rush. I think that utilizes their athletic advantage a little bit more. It makes it harder for these guys to stick shots more accurately, and I just think that if that's your advantage, you got to take advantage of it.
Picked off there by Albany. Here they come with 9:40 to go in our first half. They got odd numbers here on the opposite side. We're going to get a call coming up here against Albany. It's going to go back to Saskatchewan after this timeout with 9:37 to go in our second quarter. But the Rush are storming back in this one. Messenger went right down Broadway. Fed it over to his right. Matthews with the goal. It's a 4-3 game from the capital city. Back in a moment. Albany. It's a 4-3 game with 9:37 to go in the second from MVP Arena in Saskatchewan. They're still partying, celebrate the new year at Saskatchewan Center when Saskatchewan Rush hosts San Diego Seals next Friday. For tickets, visit saskrush.com. FireWolves.com. Let's go downstairs to Ashley Miller standing by with the Rush's Derek Keenan. Ashley.
Coach, you get down 3-0 early. Second quarter, have you guys just been able to work it into the middle of the field a little bit more? What's worked on offense?
I think we've actually been getting really good looks. We did have a bit of a tough start, but we're getting good looks most of the game. Jameis has been really good. Power play's got to be a little bit better. We're getting some opportunities here, but we managed to get ourselves back in here with some good work in transition and a little bit of execution.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Again, if you're just joining us, Derek Keenan is on the bench. He's their general manager. Of course, their longtime coach, too. But Jeff McCombs, the new head coach, did not make the trip, we're told. So again, Derek Keenan is behind the bench trying to get back to their MO, their identity. And they're on a 2-0 surge. There's an illegal substitution called right as we went to the timeout. Byrne is in the box for Albany. Another power play here for the Rush, trying to tie it all of a sudden.
It really has been an Achilles heel for the FireWolves in this game. You know, the first 10 minutes of the first quarter, they got out to a 3-0 head start, looked very, very smooth, but here they are with playing penalty kill again, and now we got a one-goal game, and it seems like the Rush have the momentum here. Let's see what the FireWolves can do in terms of killing this penalty. It's going to be critical to maintain this lead. Give the Rush too many opportunities offensively, and you're going to pay for that.
Hughes shorthanded and short side, but couldn't get past shoot. Squeezed it towards that near pipe. And here's Beers. I think you're spot on. You can see that the shift seesawing back to the Rush side, and they're flourishing on the power play as stated. They're 5th of the power play across the league on the young season. This is their 4th game. The shot by Church. It was stopped there by Jamison. Here comes Albany, shorthanded in transition with Malcolm. Malcolm was plunging forward, and now Oppen very composed here on the penalty kill, Andy.
I love that decision right there. Obviously, if he shoots it and it goes in, they're very, very excited. But the situation where it ended up being a one-on-one into eventually, a one-on-3 to be able to slow it up, give them a little bit of a break in terms of their penalty kill, I think is going to be, something that they're going to have to do a little bit more of if they continue to foul the way that they fouled through this much of the game.
Messenger's going to come off. One of the transition players. Going to get some offensive players out there with Church, Messenger, Keenan as well on this power play, trying to tie it up. Here's Church. Here's the dunk. Covering up to that back pipe there was Jamison. Foot was in the crease. Won't count. Back to Albany.
Wow, what a three-pass combination that was. Where Matthews throws it to the right wing, goes and sets a ball pick. They throw it across. And then they go one more behind the goal and he looks for the dunk. Love the creativity right there.
Another penalty upcoming. Get the call from Mark Gardonio. They might be taking a look at it first with 7:45 to go.
That might have gone in. Is that what they're checking out?
They could.
It looked like it might have gone in.
And I believe the call, we'll see the replay here, but I believe the call was that a foot was in the crease by Littner. Again, it has to cross the line before Littner can come into the crease. So it was awarded a goal, and then I think you're going to see the referee wave it off.
So you think the call there, Dave, was that his foot touched in briefly? That might have been the case.
I think initially. We'll see. But Fontaine was a little bit late getting there for that dunk opportunity for the Rush. Now, if it is a goal for Saskatchewan, they'll tie this game at 4.
I love the way that play's set up, where they end up bringing the ball back to Church. He winds up on the right side, and he's got Jamison taking away the right side of the cage. They shoot it behind the goal, and he goes and tries to dunk it on the left.
And like Derek Keenan said with our Ashley Miller, I think that Saskatchewan's moving the ball really effectively. Very confident, shooting for the outside. So the officials are taking a look at this for Saskatchewan. Could be a goal, and it would be a 4-4 game. What else offensively do you think is really clicking with the Rush? We know that Matthews is delivering along with Church getting some more opportunities too.
It seems like they understand that, again, quick passes, 3-4 passes in a row is what's going to ultimately create the highest quality of shot.
So I don't think the ball crossed the line when looking at the replays from our great crew. Here's the call.
The ball never crossed the goal line. We have no goal.
That's a great call.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So it's going to be a 4-3 game, no goal for Saskatchewan. A good effort nonetheless there by Littner on the dunk opportunity.
Well, they generated a high-quality opportunity, that's for sure. It clearly was a scripted look and they almost stuck it. I'm not sure if he hit the goalie or hit the pipe, but it really looked like they knew where the goalie was going to be when they fed up behind the goal, and he tried to dunk it to the opposite pipe.
You heard the stick taps from the Albany bench as Byrne came out. We're even at 5v5 out there on the floor.
Here we go.
Another opportunity with Garland. Can he take it coast to coast? Try to beat two. Dislodge for a moment, and Beers will pick it up for the rush.
Now the challenge is for the Rush to make sure that they're not forcing opportunities. So you really look at the poise right there, that decision, not forcing that. Really a smart play, given the way that this game has gone. It's really been two, series of momentum. Albany had the momentum for the first 10 minutes, and now the Rush have had the momentum for the next 10 minutes.
Saw the concerted effort there from Mark Matthews. These are the first two opportunities to try to go low on Jamison, who stood his ground between the pipes. Here's Albany up by 1. Q with a low burner, stopped there by Schutz. Trying to get it to the opposite side of the floor. Stays in play for Terrence.
Albany really needs Q to get going.
That's a good point, because we've seen O'Connor deliver. Terrence. Benesh has his first goal in an Albany uniform.
Yeah, Q, I know, was 4-2 in his first game in a close loss. And then last game, again, they got blown out by the Nighthawks. In order for this team to be hitting on all cylinders offensively, they need O'Connor, they need Benesh, they need Terrence, they need Andrew Q. Those are the guys that, offensively have to produce for this team to be in a position to compete for the NLL championship.
That was a well-executed pick-and-roll play. Just couldn't flourish in the end. Here's Malcolm to settle the pace for Albany. Under 6 minutes to go in a one-goal game. Man out the O-door. Terrence stopped for a moment. Chance for Benesh, who has a goal tonight. And they're going to reset at the top with O'Connor. Gets the seal inside. O'Connor get on that two-man game with Benesh. Looking for a way. And instead, here's Shoot.
I think the more the game ends up in a 5-on-5, a little bit more of a slower half-field game, I think it favors the experience that the Rush have on the defensive end and exploits the potential pursuit of an offensive identity that Albany seems to be in the middle of. Certainly Ryan Benesh is going to help accelerate that, but I think the more that the Rush can keep in a 5-on-5 contest, the more it favors them.
That's a great diagonal pass by Q. Falls to the possession of Shoot. There's the outlet. Here comes Dilks the opposite way. See what he chooses here. He opts to go back. The top kick back to Dilks on the return. Lost his footing on the turf.
Starting to get a little sloppy here, Dave.
Bomberry right at the midway line. Well, with Beers, who kicks it back. Who's going to pick it up? Will be Messenger. Yes, he'll get it. Call, though, away from the ball. Looks like Bomberry and Dilks having some words. It takes us to another break. 4:41 to go in our first half. And Saskatchewan trying to come back down by 1. 4:41 to go in the second. Here's a look. Matt Beers called for a 5-minute major on this boarding call, taking down Bomberry.
Yeah, that's going to certainly change the taste in your mouth a little bit there when you're not really looking for it. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I do think it ends up being the right call here and creates a situation for the FireWolves offensively that they've needed. Perhaps this is a point in the game where they take control of the pace of the game here now.
How about Buffalo trying to improve to 3-0, and they're up 3-0 over Toronto, coming off a win against the Wings. We know what Schreiber and others have delivered for Toronto. Matt Vince has been great for Buffalo, and they're up big early on in the TSN game of the week.
I'll tell you, that's a dangerous man right there, 2-2.
Yep.
Josh Byrne, that team is, a dangerous team. Probably the best team in the NLL through the first quarter of the season. We'll see if they can continue to build on the success that they've had. But having a few of those guys on our Chaos Lacrosse Club in the PLL in the summer, they are connected and a dangerous, dangerous team.
So here's Albany on the power play here. Again, that 5-minute major being served by Beers of the Rush. Q.
You really benefit on the power play by creating some concern with inside opportunities. That time it looked like they cut 2 guys to the inside. But I think that's the key for being able to put the most amount of pressure on these penalty kill defenses.
Coming up on the Guaranteed Rate NLL Halftime Report, we'll dive deeper into Every Child Matters, an initiative of the league's NLL Cares program. Ashley will talk to the star players down on the floor, plus highlights and analysis of the first half. All that and much more coming up. The Guaranteed Rate NLL Halftime Report. And Albany's on this power play up by 1, 4-3. For just joining us, they got off to a 3-0 start thanks to goals by Nishimura, Resetarits, and O'Connor. I think the tide started to flip in favor of the Rush in the second.
Yeah, you know, Albany goes up 3-zip, right? Saskatchewan comes back, outscores them 3-1 over the sort of the next 10 minutes. And with a 5-minute power play, it's going to be important that the FireWolves get 1 or 2 here.
Four sitting tight defensively. Here comes the Rush. Messenger, man out the front door, shot by Matthews, denied again by Jamison. That almost was a shorthanded opportunity for the Rush.
Well, and a great time to push it there. They clearly had, you know, an advantage coming out of the box and had a great shot, and it was a great save. I mean, that's what you look for with the best players in the world. You got it right there.
So Arquetti's going to come off. They're going to get back Resetarits on the floor, running the top.
You know, they want to be patient here, but they also want to take the opportunities when they have them. And if they get them a little earlier than they want, that's going to be a problem.
Yet again, here comes Dilts. Dilts with the breakaway. One-on-one on Jamison. Dilts, shorthanded, trying to go 5-hole, no. Jamison again squeezes it.
Wow. He fakes near side high, far side high, comes back, puts it down low, and Jamison was on top of it. What a save that was, but he certainly made him earn it.
And there's been a plethora of great saves so far from Doug Jamison, looking for his first win with Albany. And so is the team at 0-2 so far. Q to the top, Resetarits, that's blocked down in front. Great stick work there by Jeff Cornwall.
5-on-3 here for a second here. Let's see if they can get a good opportunity. They do, but it comes up, Shoot comes up with a great stop. And that's one of the...
Let's go back to the replay of what Jamison has provided between the pipes. Here, Robin Dilts.
He fixed near side high. It looked like he went far side high, but he actually went near side high, far side low, brought it back. Jamison was on top of it.
Sidewinder went wide. Another chance here for Benesh and company on this power play. It's Benesh looking for a second. Again, blocked down in front. Cornwall with a couple fantastic blocks. Q, opposite side towards the mid-boards. And Shoot gets just enough. We'll stay on this end.
What a phenomenal stop by Shoot right there. You're starting to see the ball movement. These guys shooting off the ball movement. That's what makes it hardest for the goalies to save. Quick shots off of quick ball movement. That puts the most amount of pressure on. And you said it, Dave. I mean, look, you look at the amount of shots that those top two guys have knocked down and eaten in the power play there. It's probably been 3 or 4 just in the last 5 minutes.
So the Rush have called a timeout here, Andy, with 1:10 to go. They had a few opportunities. We replayed the one by Dilts. What have made of Albany so far on the power play? Not being able to score right now on that 5-minute major that Beers is out in the box for.
They've generated some high-quality opportunities, but to the credit of the Rush, they've actually eaten a couple of those shots. You know, whether or not those shots would have beaten Shoot or not, we'll never know because they never got to the net. But these guys got to do a good job of you know, got to do a better job of making sure that their shots are getting to the net. And, you know, I really like it when they swing it from the right side to the left side and then back to the right side. Getting the goalie to have to move cross goal is, I think, the greatest opportunity to create high-quality opportunities and certainly hold the goalies accountable.
There's a live look at that TSN game of the week. Buffalo is up 3-0 over Toronto. As Andy has stated, and I wholeheartedly agree, Buffalo, one of those top teams, a favorite perhaps to go to the championship game as well. And they're looking to stop Toronto here on this end. Great look by our crew live into this Buffalo-Toronto game. Toronto with Hellier and Schreiber, when they can deliver. Schreiber with 4 power play goals. You know what he can provide in the outdoor game. He gets it done on the indoor side, too.
Yeah, he does everything well. You know, and what he probably doesn't get adequately celebrated for is just how humble and understated he is off the field and as a teammate on the field. I mean, you're not going to find a guy that's more or less impressed with himself as a player, and certainly that fuels you know, a team-first culture. You know, what a winner Tommy Schreiber is.
Also the nightcap tonight, Panthers City taking on San Diego at 2-1. Trey LeClaire leads all rookies with 12 points. Chiliano's off to a great start in the cage. Dean Dobie leads the league with 11 goals coming into week 6. So again, 20 seconds left. Albany still on the man advantage here with Benesh and company. See if they can add another before we get to halftime. Love one last look.
15 seconds here, and let's hope they can get their shot to the goal, and force shoot to be accountable.
Q.
But they have struggled with that.
5 seconds to go. Benesh almost had an opportunity there. Short pipe. And that will take us to halftime.
What an outstanding kill by the Rush. They've really done a great job with their power kill, and it looks like Shoot has really settled in and is now, equaling his counterpart on the other end. This has been a great game. I love the ball movement that each team has had. We've seen some great shots, and we've seen more great saves.
The Saskatchewan really has stormed back into this game after a topsy-turvy start on the road for the Rush, looking for their second win. And give credit to them, just like you said, getting that penalty kill over on Albany, making this a 1-goal game. Let's go downstairs to Ashley Miller. Ashley.
Yeah, here with Riley O'Connor. Riley, unable to take advantage of that power play. You'll start the second half on a few minutes, but how important is it for this team to stay out of the box in order to maintain a lead?
Yeah, it's a great opponent we're playing, so we can't kind of give them easy ones, but I think we're playing great, so we just got to keep going.
Good luck the rest of the way. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Ashley. And again, Albany has to be really pleased with the energy they had, not just out the front door, but also in the back end defensively. Doug Jamieson also made some fantastic stops in this game too, but here come the Rush storming back on the road. It was a 3-0 start for the FireWolves, and the Rush were storming back. It's a 4-3 game as we go into the break. The NLL Guaranteed Rate halftime show coming up next. Youth lacrosse players are having a blast out there on the floor at MVP Arena as we welcome you to the Guaranteed Rate NLL halftime report in Albany. The National Lacrosse League recently formed NLL Unites, which is the league's social responsibility program. This weekend, players warmed up in orange shirts here at Albany to honor Every Child Matters, an organization that aims to raise awareness of the history and role of residential schools throughout the North America. Here's more.
Those bodies, those children, they never got a proper burial. They never got acknowledged and thanked and prayed upon. And it brought a lot of sadness to our communities.
Lyle was actually talking to us about this at our training camp. His grandparents both were, they went to residential schools. So it's personal. When you know someone who's going through this, it becomes very real.
When I threw on my jersey and I put a ribbon in my hair, it was for those children.
They've done a great thing for lacrosse, speaking up about that and really promoting the roots of this game. And we as the NLL back them and what they say.
I get the common question, do you guys still live in, teepees? And to me, it's not a stupid question. And it's my job to educate them and let them know that, okay, no. And I always feel honored.
I think a lot of us need to just kind of listen and just put ourselves in the shoes of others.
If you don't know anything about the game of lacrosse, please go research it. It's amazing.
If other professional players, the youth, parents, fans can continue to learn about the game and practice what the game actually has to bring to the table in your everyday life, because that's the ultimate goal of the game.
One of the many players involved in this initiative is Saskatchewan's Marshall Pallas, who Ashley spoke to prior to tonight's game.
Joined by Marshall Pallas now of Saskatchewan. Marshall, what does this NLL movement mean, the Every Child Matters movement, to you?
I think it's pretty awesome because, a big lacrosse platform like the NLL, putting it out there, it's bringing a lot of awareness to the people that don't already know, and it's just pretty good to the Indigenous communities and not just myself.
What do you hope something like this achieves in terms of what people learn?
I think learning the history of what happened at the residential schools will really like open eyes for the people that don't know. And you know, I think one day this is a good step forward, but one day hopefully it'll be taught in elementary schools and, you know, high schools and everything further. Thanks.
Marshall, thank you so much for your time. And you can buy shirts. They are on sale online, and the NLL will donate a portion of those proceeds to the cause. Dave and Andy, back to you guys.
Ashley, well said. Thank you, and Marshall very much.
Thanks.
We'll continue our NLL Guaranteed Rate halftime report after the break. Welcome back to the Guaranteed Rate NLL halftime reports. And at the break, Albany with a 1-goal advantage over the Rush. Dave Litto, Andy Towers, Ashley Miller with you. Let's take a look at the first half totals, Andy. We saw that Saskatchewan, sort of the performance on the defensive side waned a little bit, but then it was really strengthened. On the power play, they're 1 for 5, but they're getting ample opportunity to score, and that's allowed them to come back in this game.
Well, the other thing to remember about the power play, certainly the advantage of, 3 more power play opportunities offensively, but the other side of that is that when you have the ball, you're down a man, right? You're playing 4 on 5 at the other end, so part of the problem of the power play is not only are you trying to cover their 5 with 4, but the other side of it is when you get the stop, you get the ball, you're having a much tougher time generating offense during that time. So the more power plays that you're giving up, the less offense of opportunities you get as a team as well. And that's a critical piece of fine print to this, to that dynamic.
Let's go to the first half highlights of this game. Again, Albany got off to a sensational start. Andy, Nishimura scored 12 seconds into the game.
Shows the power, of teams that hustle and crash the front of the net. There's a lot of rebounds, especially, with these shots. If you're right there in position, you got a good opportunity to get an open goal.
Ressa Terrence added another following in his footsteps. O'Connor got on the board to make it 3-0 Albany. Then that's when the Rush stormed back. It was late. Littner has been really solid amid the crease tonight for the Rush.
Just a great one-timer right there off a great skip pass from Keenan. Here I think you see the on-ball pick, right ball pick, comes off the pick, gets to the middle of the goal, shows left side, takes right side. Just a very fundamentally sound scoring opportunity and finish.
Matthews and Church added more, but the Rush are still down by 1. Start of the third quarter upcoming as Saskatchewan down by 1 to Albany. Start of the third quarter, Albany up by 1 over the Rush. Downstairs, Ashley Miller standing by with Kyle Rubish. Ashley.
Yeah, Kyle, they blitzed you guys a little bit to start. How were you able to settle down in the second quarter defensively?
Yeah, we just got off to a slow start there. We just kind of knew if we settled things down and get back to our game. They just got a few transition quick ones there that kind of caught us off guard, and then we settled in, and things are looking better now.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Guys, back up to you.
Ashley, Kyle, thank you very much. Okay, so what do you want to see for the Rush, Andy, as we start the third quarter moving forward? You see that they're excelling on the power play. 1 for 5, so we showed in those halftime stats, but how do they get it going when it's 5v5?
I think they need to identify when they want to push it and when they want to slow it up and go 5-on-5. Again, I think from a big picture standpoint, 5-on-5 game, more of a half-field, slower game, minimizes the athletic advantage that the FireWolves have. So from that standpoint, just an awareness. Obviously you're going to push odd man transition opportunities. You get 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s. You're going to push those every single time. But where you get the even man rushes, 3-on-3s, 2-on-2s, 4-on-4s, I think it's to their advantage to slow the game down a little bit and try to attack them in 5-on-5.
Remember, Beers is still in the box for that major call, so it's 5v4. Albany still in the man advantage. Cornwall going for it. Albany scoops it up with Ressa Terrence keeping to this end, and he'll dump it wisely. Beers just got released. So that 5-minute major was killed successfully by the Rush.
Yeah, you got to credit them. That's certainly a challenge, in this league. To be able to get out of it without any goals scored speaks volumes about how connected their penalty kill is.
Littner is deep there. Albany, good spin move, and here comes Albany with Watkinson the opposite way.
This is where Watkinson thrives, I think. His athleticism really can create, some great scoring opportunities, put pressure on the other team to get back and manage it, because he's aggressive.
Shot from the top there by O'Connor. Shoot lost it for just a moment. Hard hit behind the cage. And here comes the rush the opposite way, down by 1. Messenger with some extra words there for Benesh. Benesh does have a goal tonight in his Albany debut. Comes a shot fired, and there's Jamison. Again, a strong start in the first half from Doug Jamison. Need that to continue for Albany moving forward.
No question about it.
Rest of Terrence, so that's sealed by Rue. Durston's also out there for Albany as well with those seals right in the middle. Good swim move there by Q. Over the top shot, a twister there. Stopped yet again by Shu.
Both goalies seem to be picking up where they left off in the first half and are off to a fast start. You know, it could be interesting to see what the final score is in this game. I wouldn't be surprised to see single digits.
I'll tell you, the goaltending was phenomenal. Eric Penny came over from Vancouver to play for the Wings, was great. Poulin made some good saves in the earlier Georgia-Philly game. We're seeing that tonight.
But it is a game of runs. You look at the Georgia Wings game. You know, today it was 2-2 at halftime, and it ends up, I think, as a 10-9 game. Was that the final?
12-11 overtime.
12-11.
Yeah.
So, you know, you generate high-quality opportunities with great shooters. They're going to make these goalies pay, but credit these goalies. They certainly have gotten off to a hot start here in the second half, and all game have played really, really well.
That was a huge one. Blaze Reardon with that overtime winner, giving Philly their 3rd win. They are unbeaten at home. 3-1 overall record. Their 1 loss at Toronto. Had a few guys out in that game due to COVID protocol. For those around the league that are out in health and safety protocols, we're thinking of you, and hopefully you're okay and get back healthy very soon. Here comes Albany, the Brewer. Hasn't gotten on the board so far, Jacob Brewer. He's in possession here for Albany. Darting to the middle. Not going to find him this time. 10 to go on the shot clock here for the FireWolves.
You know, you like the offenses where they're setting picks from the inside out, where these guys that are catching that pass can attack the middle of the field. If they don't step up off the pick action, they may end up giving up a shot with a great angle, and if they do step up, you know, they may end up giving up a 2-on-1 on the side.
I'm noticing also, Andy, to your point, more picks being set for Rue. I think there's a concerted effort at the start of the 3rd to get him more involved in the offensive zone. We'll see if that continues.
I mean, the goal's just way bigger when you know, are taking shots out of the middle 10 yards of the field.
That's a bouncer that goes wide. Go back here to Albany, up by 1. Saskatchewan did end the first half on a 2-goal surge, thanks to goals by Matthews and Church. Top sits out there. Albany again looking for their 1st win of the year, coming off a loss to Rochester, but a strong start tonight. Looks like Saskatchewan with a 1-2 record, looking for their 2nd win.
So the first 3-4 possessions per team, it looks kind of like a one-pass shot situation. Let's see if they push this in a 1-on-1.
Great move by Malcolm. That might have ranked pipe, but nonetheless, shoot was there.
I mean, if it goes, it's great. I mean, how do you pass that up? He ends up with a shot, you know, 3 yards right in front of the goalie on a rollback in a 1-on-1. You got to take that shot. Again, it goes, you look like a genius. It doesn't go, you're playing defense again.
Mike Bird at the top defensively. Good swing move, dunk opportunity here. Foot was in the crease for Saskatchewan. It's going to come out, but Courier had the opportunity, but couldn't cash in on Jamison.
You got to love Courier sacrificing his body there. You know, he sells the near side finish and then tries to beat him to the far side. You know, really laying out to maximize his shooting angle, which is what a professional does. And you credit Jamison for getting there and able to slide with the offensive player and beat him to the far pipe and make a really tough save.
Courier, pretty even numbers, 17 goals, 18 assists in Philly. Came over that trade for McIntosh and company.
A little bit like a force right there. I realize they're trying to hunt front of the net opportunities, but if they're playing good defense, you want to be patient. You don't want to force it in there and forfeit 15 seconds of shot clock just trying to get an inside look.
Matthews jetting forward 1v2 this time, still in possession, and gets it out to the top. Church swims around 1, just misses. Keenan scoops it up here for the rush. 1 second to go, the shot clock just had to dump it in and shoot, went wide. Shot clock violation on Saskatchewan. Will take us to a timeout, 9:29 remaining in the 3rd. No goal scorers to this point to start half number 2. Thanks in part to Doug Jamison. Need to continue his prowess after the break. The NLL on ESPN is brought to you by NLLshop.com, a Fanatics experience, officially licensed everything. and by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate, believe you will. You're looking at the Empire State Plaza and the Egg, Performing Arts Center in the capital city. A beautiful night for the NLL action as Albany, the home squad, leads 4-3 over Saskatchewan. This is what I love, Andy. The youth lacrosse players having a great time. These are the kids that you love to teach, relish the game, and they're seeing the best do it in the indoor game.
You know, Albany is a hotbed area for lacrosse. There's no question. From the success, you know, the local high schools through the Division I program that Scotty Marr coaches up there at University of Albany, and now with the FireWolves now playing out of the MVP arena. It's just an exciting time to be playing lacrosse in the area.
10 seconds to go on the shot clock as we're back out of the timeout. Ressa Terrence then go in the two-man game with Thompson this time, trying to dip it down low, but he couldn't get it amid the crease.
You know, they look like they just are a little uncomfortable. That's the second force of the last 4 possessions that we've seen where they're throwing the ball to somebody that looks like he's not even really open. And I realize at the end of the shot clock, you know, you're going to lose it anyways unless you get a good opportunity, but it just looks like they're a little disconnected at the tail end of these possessions.
6 to go on the shot clock here for Courier. Needs help from Church. Courier went low. Jamison stood his ground to the right of his pipe.
I'd so much rather see that type of shot at the end of a possession where even though it's not an unbelievable angle, it is low, and if you shoot that with high deception, you may be able to catch the goalie rather than sort of force feeding it inside and not even getting an opportunity to give the goalie a chance to break down.
O'Connor, though, couldn't cradle that in, and here's that long outlet as a result for Kidd and company. Saskatchewan's going to back this one out thanks to Bobby Kidd, the 23-year-old.
Very smart. You recognize you don't have the numbers. You know, it's one thing to push it 2-on-2. It's another thing to force, you know, an offensive shot when it's 2-on-3, and that time it ended up as a 2-on-4.
They're trying to tie this game for the first time, and there it is. Church adds another. It's his second of the game. He scored back-to-back goals. All of a sudden, deadlocked at 4.
Another great pass by Keenan. Finds Church all alone. I don't know what happened. There had to be some sort of breakdown in terms of the FireWolves checking up, but you allow Church in front of the net like that with time and space. He fakes near side, far side, and beats Jamison back to the near side. Bang. 1, 2, 3.
That was a huge breakdown in front of Jamison. You said it. There's no red shirts right at the top of the crease past Nardella and company.
That's the first time we've seen them break down in there, you know, in its entirety right there. And you leave a guy like this that's, you know, a proven offensive weapon, Robert Church, out of Drexel, and he's going to make you pay, and he certainly made him pay right there. That's a pivotal goal. Big difference between 5-3 and 4-4, Dave.
He's been with the Rush since 2016. He had a great year 2018, 107 points put up. More importantly, as you mentioned, all square 4 apiece all of a sudden.
Yeah, you know, the Rush have won the last 2 faceoffs real cleanly with Messenger facing off against Byrne. You know, where is Nart?
Matthews, their opportunity here for the Rush. That ricochets wide. Let's go down to Ashley on these defensive breakdowns. Ashley.
Yeah, guys, when we talked to head coach Glenn Clark earlier this week, he had mentioned the Rochester game as decision-making mistakes that led to inside looks, whether they were wrong reads or losing coverage, and that's what you guys saw right there. That looked a lot like some of the mistakes we saw in that Rochester loss. Guys, back to you.
Spot on, Ashley. Exactly what we talked about. You know, we asked Clarkey about that, and he had indicated that there were some poor rotations. Guys just made some execution mistakes. It certainly looked like that was the case there, and that was the first time all game that they've broken down in terms of checking up in their associated rotations.
And Cornwall was trying to get in. Let's see if Albany can get back and tighten it up in front of Jamison moving forward. Here's Byrne. Byrne's going to stay out there. Set those seals on the inside in this 4-4 game. Thompson, the pick and pop here over to Ressa Terrence. Q. Trying to throw one, Q. Looking inside, he had O'Connor for a moment. Big hit by Garland out of Canisius. And Rochester, Saskatchewan's going to lose it there and back the other way for the Rush.
Garland is a competitor, man, and he likes to stir it up. He does the same thing in the PLL in the summer playing for the Canads as a defenseman, And out here, he's an agitator as well. You know, what a teammate he is. You like to play with guys like that. You hate playing against them.
There's another breakdown, though, on that opposite side, and the Rush are still going to have another opportunity. 4 to go. You heard the stick taps here for Keenan. Has to hurry. 1. Good defensive stop by Albany. But you're seeing some breakdowns, as Ashley was dissecting, and so are you, Andy, inside of Jamison.
It's a great point on that one, Dave. You know, they did break down. Fortunately for Albany, the breakdown was with a poor angled shot. You know, the breakdown when Church scored was right in the middle of the goal. And so, you know.
That falls in for Albany.
Wow.
For 2 and his bounce, an outside shot, and the FireWolves retake the lead. Andrew Q with the sniper that was low. Shoot would want that one back, and it's 5-4.
That was an old school Sega hockey 1993 a trickler. And certainly a good time for it. 5-4. It's a critical goal for the FireWolves. There it is.
Q gets on the sheet for the first time tonight. Andy, you've been calling on him to deliver, and there he is at a big point when Saskatchewan was storming back in this game, and that negates a 3-0 run from the Rush.
You know, that's a perfect example right there where he gets a goal in the middle of the field. Great angle. And he, you know, is able to score low between the goalie's legs, and it's such a better chance. Oh, Nards!
Back to back!
Wow, we asked where Nards was. They hadn't faced him off the last couple of times. Maybe he was charging into his, you know, his cape, because that was certainly an impressive goal for Nards to win the faceoff, bring it down the left side as a righty, and again, jump across the crease, maximize his angle. You know, that kid is as tough as you're going to find.
Nardella have a go at it. At that crease dive, and more importantly, it lifts Albany to a 2-goal advantage.
What a swing and momentum. You know, it looked like the Rush were generating some high-quality opportunities. Certainly, Church scores to tie it up at 4. Another FireWolves breakdown gives them another free shot from the side. Jamison makes a play, makes the stop, and then 2 successive goals in a row, coming back with Q and then Nardella to take momentum.
Of the face-off guys throughout this league, like Nardella, Messenger, Baptiste for Philly, Ireland, what he can provide, Withers too.
Yeah.
Just some fantastic players from the dot.
You know, when you win face-offs at such an extreme percentage, the way that these guys do, that are the best in the league, at that, you know, sort of 60 to 65% plus winning percentage, that's when it becomes a real distinct advantage. Nard scores off the draw right there. The first goal that they scored was also a clean win from Nardella. You know, and if you're able to generate offense through, you know, in live scoring situations, that obviously is a huge plus in addition to just being able to win possession. You know, a lot of times with the confines of the indoor game, it's tough to get transition opportunities off the draw, you know, and usually these guys instead are trying to get just possession, but we've seen some offense directly off the whistle.
That was a good cut inside there, some extracurricular activity, and with O'Connor from the Albany side. And here comes the Rush the opposite way with Kidd. It was Byrne who actually took the last draw after Nardella scored that goal for Albany, up by 2. They're at 4:30 and a turning clock to go in the third.
Nardella again with a tough ground ball in the corner and caps it with a nice pass up the field and a shove. He was starting to impose his will on the game. Yeah, I love the way he competes.
Yeah, that physical play, it seems like it's contagious out there for Albany, especially with the start that they had tonight. They were firing out of the locker room. Durston goes high to the twister. There's Terrence almost for that dunk opportunity, but Cornwall goes low. Shoot was there to his left.
I love that kind of shot. You know, he ends up coming from behind the goal, sidearm to maximize his angle, puts the pressure on Shoot. Shoot answers the bell with a really tough low-way kick save. Great offense, great save.
Messenger setting those seals inside. Another penetration move again. Church looking for the hat trick. Going to be a call coming up here against Albany.
Yeah, another great ball pick from the inside out. Creates a scoring opportunity in front of the goal. Rush are definitely hunting those type of opportunities.
Take another timeout with 3:45 to go. Church looking for the hat trick. Late shove by Bombar. He's headed to the box. Saskatchewan's going to go on the power play when we return to Albany in a moment. 3:45 to go in the third. Albany is up by 2 with Bomberry in the box. But we had a thriller earlier today in Philly. Blaze Reardon with the overtime goal to lift the Wings over Georgia.
There it is, best player on the planet. Double seal down. Blaze Reardon stepping up, going near side, and there he is, the king.
How impressive is it for Reardon? One of the best to ever do it. Outdoor goalie, and flourishes as a field player in the indoor side.
I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable when you factor in the difference between the indoor game and the outdoor game. It's like he's flying a plane during half the year and he's manning a submarine in the other half. It just is uncanny at how he's able to be among the best goalies in the history of the field game for half the year, and then plays offense in, this game, which is just so difficult to do. There's been nobody like him. I mean, there's nobody's done what he has done in this sport, at the level that he does it. And it's great to see, because you're not going to find a more humble guy than him.
The FireWolves are back home at the newly named MVP Arena on Saturday night. Join us for Military Appreciation Night. Enjoy $1 hot dogs and $2 popcorn all night long. Looking forward to that matchup against Halifax, who's off to a great start as well. Wings, to your point, with the Reardon overtime winner, now 3-1, unbeaten at home, and it's Church yet again. He's got a hattie. It's a hat trick for Church in a 1-goal game, thanks to the power play goal.
Yeah, you see it right there. It's another 4 or 5 pass combination where they go to the left side, they bring it back down the right side. Jamieson has to honor the shooting angle and take it away, and then they cut from the help side, catch, finish, far and away. It's just such a good set look, and Littner again with the catch. I think that's Littner, right? Or is that Church? I'm sorry, Church. Again, catches it and beats him to the far side of the goal. What a great set look that was, and an awesome finish.
And a terrific seal by Keenan as well on the play to allow Church to get in the inside. I think that's what's been so different from the start of this game, is their ability to get into the middle and find those pockets of space. I mean, the defenseman of all.
I really love the way that kid Church plays. I mean, he is willing to get right in the middle and risk getting his head knocked off for just a little bit of extra angle. And sure enough, for a team that scored 5 goals tonight, it's been critical for them.
Back down to a 1-goal game. Thompson over the top. Have a fresh 30 with the FireWolves. Q looking for another. Shoot stands his ground. Albany has done a nice job also limiting the transition by Saskatchewan. I know it was more so the transition game was working really well for Watkinson, as we said, and others from the Albany side. But the rush, to your point, 5v5, slow with the pace. Looking for Keenan there. Good defensive play, though, for Albany. Jankowski was there to dislodge that.
Yep, it was a great pick, slip inside. Good cross-body catch, and great defense. It was right there to cause turnover when they needed it. Otherwise, that was going to be another high-quality shot right in front of James. Great defense.
Another block registered by Jeff Cornwall, 15th overall pick in 2011. Picked off yet again.
Really good. Jump that passing lane.
Jankowski gets it done on the defensive side for Albany once more.
They've got 20 seconds here. Like to see them, even though they want to push transition. If you don't have the numbers, be patient in the offensive end. There's a good opportunity.
It's O'Connor jetting inside. Going to get a call up here to shove in the bag from Saskatchewan. Albany's going to go on the power play.
It is a critical time to draw a penalty. As we referenced before, obviously they're going to have a man advantage for 2 minutes, but again, it's going to also minimize the chances that Saskatchewan's going to be able to capitalize and score themselves. Which again is a real downside to having an end of the box.
So a check from behind is the call.
I think
power play here.
I think it was a smart penalty. If they don't do it, he's giving one up right in front of the goal. So, you hate to be caught out of position and have to foul, but in that instance, I do think it, prevented a possible goal.
No drive from O'Connor goes into the bench of the rush. We'll go back to Saskatchewan here with under 55 seconds to go in the third. see if they can get Ressa Terrence more involved. I think he was so active in quarter number 1. It's kind of worn off a little bit quarters 2 and 3.
Well, a lot of times the guys that get the scoring opportunity is dictated by the way that the defense decides to play the situation. And certainly Joe Ressa Terrence has established himself as one of the premier goal scorers in this league. And if you have a consciousness of that, you're going to do everything you can to limit his opportunities. So I think that's really a credit to the rush more than it is anything else.
Less than a second separate the game, and shot clocks here to end the third. Here's Ressa Terrence on cue.
One of the things that Saskatchewan has done is that they set these inside-out picks and allow their offensive players to attack the middle. You know, I think if Albany could gain some advantage and create some high-quality shots with maybe a little bit more pick action and attacking the middle of the field.
Well, that will do it for the third stanza. Albany will continue on the power play as they have had a surge late into the third quarter. And an excellent display for Coach Glenn Clark's team heading into the fourth amid Adam Shute. Albany getting some deliveries there by Q and also Nardella inside. That needs to continue. Love that crease dive by Nardella. 6-5 going into the fourth. Saskatchewan's Church also a hat trick in this game. Get all the breaking NLL news, update stories, and more right into your inbox. Sign up for the NLL newsletter today by going to NLL.com. Albany still holding an advantage here despite Church getting a hat trick as we begin the fourth stanza. Let's take a look at those totals through 3 quarters so far. You see that Albany has been very successful off the faceoffs, but want to see them deliver on special teams. Yeah,
I think the success of the faceoffs has offset the disadvantage in terms of the power play a little bit, made it a little even. Both goalies have played great games. Listen, it's a 1-goal game. Each team has been fighting for momentum and been able to seize control for a little while before the other team steps up and takes it back. I think we're going to be in for a great fourth quarter here, Dave.
Dave Leno, Andy Towers, and Ashley Miller on the call. Our entire crew, it's great to have you with us tonight. Week 6 on the NLL docket. If you're just tuning in, Saskatchewan went on a 3-0 run early on in the second, jetting into the third quarter. Then Q and Nardella scored to make it 6-4 Albany. Church just added another. That's how we have a 6-5 game. This did start with a 3-0 advantage for Albany at the upstart of this game.
You know, it's interesting the way the game is playing out with low-scoring games, 6-5 Albany. You're kind of looking at, Church has probably been the MVP, in my opinion, for the rush to this point. And I would say, both goaltenders have been in that conversation as well. And then you got Nards on the other side. He's, 5 for 15 face-offs. He's won, I think, 11 out of 15 face-offs, I think, is the stat line now. And I think he's 1-1 in a really low-scoring game. It's going to be interesting to see what happens down the stretch here. Rush, I think, need to really make it a half-field game, try to break them down with their scheme and quick passing. And the FireWolves have to be disciplined, hunt their transition, but don't make it be there and gives the Rush unnecessary offensive possessions and opportunities.
We're looking inside for Keenan. Here comes Albany the opposite way, up by 1 with Nardella. He's going to come off here and get, to your point, those offensive players.
It's just really smart right there. You could be inclined to want to push that in what appears to be on 3-on-3, but because the Rush was so good out the back door right there, it ended up really as a 3-on-5. And to recognize that, get your subs on and attack them within the framework of your scheme, I think is what's going to ultimately put the most pressure on their defense. Great stop.
Yeah, it's a great sidewinding shot, too, by Q. Here come the Rush the opposite way, down a Cole here with Tristan Rye. He's going to come off here for a man out the O door. Darren Keenan's team, he's manning the bench. Jeff McComb not making the trip. Church. There's stops there by both netminders. Shoot a +2 over Jamison so far, but both have been fantastic. There's a shot and a big stop there by Jamison to his left.
Yeah, Jamison's played a great game. Yes. He's had a lot of great stops. I think in those situations, you can anticipate a rebound there, and it looks like the FireWolves have done a great job of cleaning up the front of the net on all rebounds.
Garland's going to slow the pace here for the rush. Keep an eye on Church yet again. He's really been huge throughout this third and fourth quarters. Littner as well, been a little bit quiet. Remember, Littner had a really productive first half and then another stop by Jamison.
Yeah, you know, Matthews comes off an inside-out ball pick, takes a great shot, rebound, but the FireWolves are able to get a first opportunity ground ball and limit their possession to just one shot. It's going to be critical down the stretch here.
Soroketi came off for O'Connor. Durston still out there at the top to set those seals, along with Rue. Shot by Resson Terrence towards the corner. Malcolm's there.
What a stop by Shoot. Again, these goaltenders have really stepped up and played a good game.
It's like the game we saw early on. A fortuitous bounce there for Dilks with a rush down by 1 over to Littner.
You know, I like the rush when they, you know, work the left side and then look for backside pitches from Littner. Scored on 1. I know it was a power play from Keenan, but I like facilitating on the left side for the right-handed finishes. Let's see what they do here.
Watkinson's at the top. Let's go to that right-hand side. Shoot got enough jetting to his right. A chance for the rush in transition this time for Messenger. And the crowd getting into it here in Albany. Bobby Kidd was running that middle for a moment. Palace is still out there as well. Church has a hat trick tonight. Looking down low, foot was in the crease. You're spot on, Andy, and go back the opposite way. Courier was in there.
Yeah, it's there again. You can see they're really trying to get to the front of the net. They're trying to put pressure through off-ball screens and on-ball picks to see if they can create, you know, a rotation mistake that's led to a couple of Church's goals.
Rebound opportunity amid the crease. It's going to stay on this end with Garland going down for the rush. Spent that time by Rue of Albany. We have fresh 30 on the shot clock with 10:35 to go. Shoots ready for the rush. See if Albany can add another here with Q. O'Connor. Cornwall on him. Space here. Yep, there was that breakdown. Minesh just wide.
Look at the way the rush close out to the ball. Oh, that's a nice finish right there.
Benesh adds another. It's his second goal tonight, debuting for Albany. More importantly, it's a 2-goal game now.
Well, again, we go back to the conversation with Ashley, you know, before the game and how he wanted to make his impact. It's his second goal of the game. You know, to score 2 of the 7 goals, he's certainly making his impact felt. No question about it.
Not a huge moment in the game.
Wow, what a finish that is. A one-handed righty catch into a far side lefty finish. I mean, that was about the only place that he could put it, and he was able to put it there. What a handle.
Right over Jordy Jones-Smith that time.
With a diminishing angle. Yeah, that is a really tough catch and finish there. You would think that he'd maybe fake that, you know, to the backside and try to go near side there, but what range?
15th year in the league, 8th different team, over a 1,000-point score for Benesh.
There's Nardella.
Hitting the cause.
Sorry, there's Nardella again, Dave. You know, you see him. I think that's 12 out of 16, and getting possessions. You know, when he's able to get the ball himself, a lot like Baptiste is. When I watched, you know, the Georgia Wings game today, you know, it's just such an advantage. The more high scoring it is, the more of an impact of face-off dominance, you know, impacts the game, especially when these guys are able to get it to themselves.
Dilks, Walter, and Cornwall are out there defensively for the rush. A one-timer shot by O'Connor. Let's go downstairs to Ashley with more Ryan Benesh. Ashley.
Yeah, guys, when we talked to him before the game, you guys said it. He wants to score. He can score. 15 seasons in the NLL, more than 1,000 points, 200 games played. And with Panther City, 3 goals and 9 assists already this season, he has certainly made his presence felt for Albany tonight.
I agree, Ashley. That needs to continue moving forward with about 9 minutes to go in regulation. Q. 3 seconds to go. They were looking for O'Connor. Chance there for Benesh yet again. Didn't realize had an opening there, Andy.
Wow, yeah, it seemed like he was waiting for somebody to rotate out to him. Nobody was there, and by the time that he took the shot, it actually allowed Shoot to get over there and, you know, calibrate a little bit.
And with O'Connor down, it will take us to a timeout with 8:57 to go in the fourth. It's a 2-goal advantage for Albany. Come on back after the break. Back at Albany, as Glenn Clark is hoping that his team can continue to hold this league. And in Buffalo, they just scored to make it a 6-4 game. Andy, what's going down in that game? A big one against Toronto.
Yeah, you know, you look at the box score here. I'm just pulling it up, and I see an awful lot of Chaos Lacrosse Club guys having a good game between Cloutier and Frazier, Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Cloutier with 3 assists, you know, and then you go to the other side, you got Challen Rogers lighting it up for Toronto. You know, it's just big on big all over the field. That game is certainly living up to its expectations.
Yeah, Toronto went on a surge in that second quarter in Buffalo as Bandits are holding on to a 2-goal advantage. You see Byrne with the hat trick.
Byrne, yep,
in that game.
Ian McKay 1-2, Cloutier 0-3, Josh Byrne 2-0. Dane 0-1, Chase Frazier 2-0. It is an onslaught. Then on the other side, of course, you know, great to see Challen Rogers. We couldn't get him in a Chaos uniform this summer, but we're hoping to this coming summer. 2-1 leading the way statistically for the Rock.
Halifax and New York are idle this weekend. The Calgary-Rochester game was postponed due to COVID activity week 6. That game will be rescheduled. Game clock was reset. Buffalo, we're being told, just scored again. They have a 3-goal advantage. Here in Albany, though, it's a 2-goal lead. They're looking for a third here. Here's the crease dive. They add another. Terrence gets back into it. That's his second of the game. 8-5 score line.
From Watkinson, I think, on the break right there. And it's a perfect example of where transition in that instance is really smart. They've got the advantage. They've got the athleticism. And they're in a 2-on-1. You're going to push that every single time. Watkinson draws his man, makes the right decision. And sure enough, Joe's able to finish it like he does. You know, what a finish. Near side, sells far side, comes back near side with a quick far side fake. Bang. Not a lot you can do right there for shoot. That's where Albany's at its best, just like that.
Andy, you were spot on, and I want to tell the audience, prior to the broadcast, I was mentioning a couple guys that were really standouts in your eyes for Albany. One of those players you mentioned was Watkinson, not only in transition, but allowing those odd man rushes, those 2v1s. Watkinson, not only on the defensive side in transitions, looked really good tonight all over the floor. You were right on.
Well, you look at Watkinson and you look and try to evaluate him in 4 ways. You know, from an athletic standpoint, he's one of the best athletes in the league. You know, you look at his skill set. Obviously, he's got a great skill set. You look at his IQ. You know, not everybody knows how to be the playmaker in an unsettled situation, and he certainly does. And then his intangibles. The guy's as tough as you need him to be. He plays both ends of the floor. He makes the right play with consistency and defers all the credit and takes all the blame. I mean, you can't draw up somebody that you know, would want to have, you know, as the leader of your team.
Career shot got knocked down. Still has the opportunity. So Watkinson and company can do here. Palace, the top. Gobbled up there by Keenan. 3 to go on the shot clock. Last chance here for Courier. It's going to be a violation. Coming up, good stand for Albany, up by 3 with 7:25 to go and counting.
Yeah, you know, you looked at the 1-goal game and you thought the Rush, having played in 3 1-goal games, you know, that situation probably favors them a little bit, having a little bit more experience, maybe being a little bit more poised in a close game like that. But again, it seems like the FireWolves are the ones that have stepped up and taken control and have the momentum with 7 minutes to play.
Keeping the Rush in it here. It's a fresh 30 for Albany, up by 3. Durston on the left this time.
I think the challenge for Albany is to stay aggressive within scheme, but be conservative in your decision making. And if you're able to do that, and still continue to score, I think you're going to need to continue to score.
What a hit on Benish that time, and he's visibly upset there. It's a big pop by Saskatchewan towards the corner. Dilks was in it. I think Cornwall was the other player who just came off for the Rush.
Yeah, you know, we had a lot of penalties in the first half for the FireWolves. And, you know, you're looking at the Rush, they really, even though they were 1 for 5 on the power play, Albany wasn't able to get going offensively, and they've eliminated the penalties, and now they're in control of this game down the stretch. But the Rush are going to make a run. You know they are.
Lost stick there for Beers, and another lost stick this time for Albany's Malcolm. And here comes the transition for Saskatchewan with Tristan Rod.
Not a bad time to push it here. Good stop. We get a high quality shot there. You know, you're down by 3 goals with 5 minutes left, Dave. You got a 3-on-3, you get a high-quality shot from 7 yards on the run, you got to take it. Smart shot, smart placement, great save. You know, I think the Rush have to push those opportunities to get back into this game with, you know, with just a little under a half a quarter left.
Q over the top. That rang off the crossbar yet again for Q. He's had a few pipes tonight.
Same with Walkerton in the first half. I think that's the 4th pipe that they've had.
Fresh 30 nonetheless here for Albany. I like the composure displayed by Albany as well in transition. Backing it out, getting the O-Dies out the front door. Here's O'Connor.
I agree 100%, Dave. They're showing the most amount of poise that they have all game long right here down the stretch when it matters most.
Rush are going to get it back. 4:50 to go, and will bring us to a timeout. Andy, I know you love some physicality, and you got it just a little bit ago on the floor.
Yeah, you know, it's we're starting to reach a situation where these guys are a little desperate. You know, they've got to start going after the ball, trying to create live transition opportunities.
.450 to go in the 4th. It's an 8-5 advantage for Albany at the tail end of this game in regulation. It's now time for tonight's Fanatics. Turning point of the game, right off of the dot, Nardella delivers.
Yeah, there's no question he's been doing it in the blue-collar areas, which is at the face-off exit, off the ground, and in the more glamorous areas, sticking an unbelievable diving goal low and away at a critical juncture in the game.
I'll tell you, that was like Lyle Thompson. The way that he glides in air on those crease dives. Love seeing that by Nardella with his athleticism.
Yeah, willing to sell out to get that extra angle. Critical, Dave.
Big on that. +7 advantage on faceoffs, 1 for Nardella against the Rush. That's aided to their success tonight, up by 3. There was the one-timer chance, another chance on the opposite side of the cage. Shoot was there, left to right. Nicely done.
You know, I think as the game sort of winds down here, obviously we still have a few more minutes to go. Albany is going to need to be aware of the shot clock. You know, you watched the game that you did this afternoon with Mitch about the Wings-Georgia game, and the Wings had the ball with about 20 seconds left and took a shot and gave the Georgia a chance to get back in it, and Bomberry sticks the shot, it goes in overtime, and Blaze sets up the winner. But you know, you've got to really be aware of the shot clock down the stretch of these games.
Rambo, as good as he is, he knows he might want to get that decision back. I know Paul Day was visibly upset, but it paid off in the end after the Bomberry goal, leading to Blaze Reardon, as you said, giving the Wings a 3-1 record so far through 4 games.
Yeah, well, I guess Rambo shows that he's a human being.
Yeah, that's right. Because he's a freak out there, both in the indoor and the outdoor game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, arguably the best player in the world, along with his roommate Blaze Reardon. You know, again, that shot goes in, and they win by 2, and nobody says a word about it.
Another chance and another goal upcoming.
Did that go? What was, they blew the whistle and stopped the play?
I think they stopped it at the end for some extracurriculars, and a fight's going to break out here. Andy, you were there for that very famous goaltender fight between Rochester and Albany.
Yeah, that game was, you know, a little different in terms of circumstance. You can sense that the Rush are getting a little frustrated by this. I think the pressure was on them a little bit coming into this game, coming off a great win versus Vancouver. And with the FireWolves getting blown out by Rochester, I think the Rush felt a little bit of pressure here. But credit the FireWolves, you know, in what was a very evenly played game for 3 quarters, they've created a little bit of distance here down the stretch.
So 2 men are going into the box. I think these penalties are going to offset at the tail end of this game. Yeah, they're still yelling at each other from across the glass here with 3:09 to go here in the 4th.
Yeah, you know, I think down the stretch here, this is where, you know, Albany needs to show the discipline to not get caught up in this stuff. I think that...
Draw penalty, double minor for roughing. Albany penalty, 2 minutes, roughing, 5-on-4.
So it's 5v4. Being told the goal's going to count right now for Albany here with Bomberry after that pushing and shoving in the back with that open cage they caught shoot towards the bench.
What a huge goal that is.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're up 4 with 3 minutes to go. You can understand how the Rush are a little irritated, but
okay, now we're being told that no goal. That's waved off for Bomberry. Whistle blew before the ball went into the net. We're being told to no goal on the floor. I think that was the right call. It was a little bit of an awkward circumstance that happened out there on the floor because everybody just stopped. All right, so well done all around with our crew. It's an 8-5 game, 8-5 officially with 3:09 to go. It's 5v4, according to the officials out there on the floor. Get play stopped for just a moment. I think they need to reset the shot clock here.
So Albany's got a man advantage here. You know, you want to use all the shot clock. There's no question about it. If you get a good opportunity, you got to take it, but you don't want to force something.
Having a clock issue, we're looking to rectify that moving forward. But how does Albany kill this off? You got 3 minutes and change left in this game. You know the Rush are trying to mount a comeback with Church and company, but defensively, how do they shore up that middle moving forward?
You know, I don't think there's any doubt. The Rush have to go after the ball a little bit here. Now, with the 20-second shot clock, do they ride it out? Yeah, they still have time. I mean, you can score goals very, very quickly in this league. As you saw, Albany scored 2 goals in the span of about 10 seconds. And the Rush can do that, but the Rush aren't winning faceoffs. So, you know, when a goal is scored, odds are that Albany's going to win the draw. That's going to make it really tough for the Rush to come back here. But they're going to have to start to step out. If they don't, they're going to be, it could be a slow death here.
So we're under 3 minutes to go in regulation. It's a 3-goal disparity.
Yeah, I love the personnel decisions here, having Malcolm on the field, Walkinson on the field, ready to play defense, ready to get back in the hole if they need that.
Almost an opportunity there for Keenan.
Do not give up transition.
The Rush going to come out with an open cage. Yeah. Those penalty minutes are mounting. There's the stick taps there from Albany. Recognizing that there's an open net on the opposite side of the floor. Here it is for Bomberg. Can he get one to actually go in this time? And catch it down the floor with Malcolm, and Shoot gets there in a hurry.
The Rush are going to have to force some stuff here. You know, they don't have a lot of time. You know, an inside-out ball pick should lead to a shot.
It's over Keenan. If Littner, if they want him on the right-hand side, over the top shot is wide. 8 seconds to go here. On the shot clock and plays whistle down as Bomber was there. And maybe a cramp here for Ryan Keenan. Might have got one to that left knee. He's got 10 assists this year coming into tonight's game. He's been big setting those seals inside for Church, Matthews and company. Here's another look as to why he's down.
He's had a couple of great passes too.
Yeah, just collided maybe at an awkward spot to the corner towards him. Yeah. Andy and sort of Ketty, that shove. Looked like nothing really there.
Didn't look like it felt great though.
No.
Whether he hit it or whether it's a muscle spasm. And muscle spasms don't feel great.
We mentioned at the top of the broadcast the Rush want to get back to their identity. How have you felt the Rush have been? We saw that surge in the second quarter, but only a 5 spot tonight.
Yeah, you know, listen, I think the identity of the Rush is at the defensive end. They've held the FireWolves to 8 goals. I mean, that's a great defensive performance. Shoot's played very, very well. You know, I think the disappointment has to be for the Rush on the offensive end, only putting up 5 goals. But let's not, you know, fail to recognize how great Doug Jameson's played in goal. And the impact that Joe Nardella at the faceoff X, winning 80% of the draws. You know, yes, the FireWolves were at a disadvantage in terms of the amount of penalties called, but they've done a great job of killing those off for the most part, and minimized that as a dictator for the outcome of the game. And so I feel like the Rush have done their job defensively. They just haven't gotten it done offensively. But credit the FireWolves. They've had a lot to do with the failure of the Rush trying to score a lot of goals tonight.
Well said with Bomberry, Nishimura, Manning, and Malcolm as well. We know you mentioned Ardella, what he's done at the dot, and also back on the defensive side, helping out Jamison. And Jamison, he has made some sensational stops throughout this matchup. One of the guys that we haven't called his name too much for the Rush, Mark Matthews. In the beginning, he was great. All of a sudden, it's gone a little bit quiet.
100%. He had a great goal on the one-timer when Messenger came down and threw him a right-handed shovel pass. He caught it and stuck it low and away. It was an awesome shot, but for the most part, Albany has really prioritized taking him away in 5-on-5 situations. Church is the one that has really hurt him, but you shut down Mark Matthews, who was averaging 5 points a game, and their offense seems like it's been really taking a hit here.
Cornwall's trying to get a cross turnover here. Is a timeout going to be called? Malcolm was challenged by Cornwall and Beers. And with 1:45 to go, not a bad decision by Malcolm. Don't want to get a turnover leading to a Rush goal, so they want to talk things over on the Albany bench.
I think it's real smart. They're up by 3 goals. You don't want to give up an easy one right there, make it a 2-goal game with 2 minutes to go. I think this is a really, really smart call by Glenn Clark. And, again, you got to finish off these games, particularly in this league where they're a lot of 1- and 2-goal games. It's important that these guys understand how to take it over the finish line.
There's a live look into that Buffalo-Toronto game. Buffalo with that 3-goal advantage, and on the man advantage here, Matt Vince has been so good for Buffalo. It's a team that's trying to improve and remain one of those unbeaten teams, along with Halifax so far. The favorite, at least in my opinion, to get back to that championship game. One of the favorites to continue their surge throughout this young season and moving forward.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Buffalo has a lot of weaknesses as a team. They seem very connected offensively. They got a great goalie in Matt Vinson. They're connected. They're unified. They got to stay one moment, stay in the moment, one moment at a time, and there it is.
There's an open cage there for Q. He adds another tonight. It's a 9-5 game with 1:39 to go.
It's got to give him a shot in the arm in terms of confidence. This is a huge win.
Andrew Q with his second. Did I hear the 3 goals that really are starting to put this game away from the Albany perspective?
Yeah, this was the run that mattered. It was going back and forth. Each team was, would score 2 goals, 3 goals, whatever it may be, in a low-scoring game like this was at 6-5 to score, 2 quick goals in a row right after the Rush scored was what they needed. I mean, that was the difference. But this has been a fantastic game. It really has.
Yeah, what a difference from the Rochester performance right into this matchup. And remember, these teams haven't played since mid-December due to the Week 5 postponement due to COVID activity.
Yeah, this has been a very, very complete game by the FireWolves. They fixed a lot of the issues. When we saw them play in Rochester, they just didn't look connected defensively. It looked like they gave up a lot of layups inside right in front of Jamison. Offensively, they looked like they were pressing. They didn't look like they had an identity. Tonight, I thought they scored 9 goals. 1 was an open net with Q right there. But remember, they also hit 4 pipes. And I think they generated some high-quality opportunities and maybe didn't shoot as well as they hoped. But they, continued to put pressure on shoot, and ultimately were able to break through down the stretch. And that's the difference in the game, Dave.
Let's hear the call.
Saskatchewan penalty, 2 minutes, illegal substitution. Since it occurred in the last 2 minutes, we have a penalty shot.
All right, here we go. Penalty shot, Andy, your favorite, with 57 seconds left in the game. Here comes Albany. Who's going to take it? Looks like Thompson may have a try.
All right.
All right, what's your mindset here on the penalty shot? What are you telling your guys?
You know, it depends on the angle in which they come in. Sometimes you come in, you try to beat the goalie to a spot. I mean, you're talking to literally the worst scorer in NLL history right now. But I think what you see is these guys coming on an angle. They fake the near side high, sell the far side, and then go back near side.
See what he does. Thompson goes low and scores. It's a 10 spot for Albany. Tanner Thompson gets on the board.
So he fakes near side high and beats him low and away. I think that shoot thought he was going to come back to the short side. And what a finish.
Thompson with his first, the Marquette product. Makes it a 5-goal deficit here for Saskatchewan on the road.
I think Shoot thought he was coming back to the near side corner, and Thompson just beats him low and away. Chess match.
Officials were being told are taking a look at this. Get all plays reviewed inside the last few moments. And you know, credit this Albany team was the disparity of that loss against Rochester. And also they lost 10-9 to Toronto. Goals under 2 minutes are automatically reviewed by the officials. So let's just take some extra looks at it. Looks like it will stand though from our vantage point for Thompson. It seems like Albany, I know this is just game 3 for the FireWolves, but Glenn Clark, the organization, Oliver Marty have to be really pleased with the performance tonight after the long layoff from the holiday break and the COVID and health and safety protocols.
Yeah, I mean, no question. You go from an 11-goal loss to a 5-goal win. Certainly watching the film has helped this team identify their areas of opportunity for immediate improvement. It just looked like from the start of the game, they were playing way faster than they did during that Nighthawks game. And you get a great goaltender, you get a dominant face-off guy, you get a shot in the arm with Ryan Banesh comes in, scores 2 great goals for them, during the first 7 goals scored, and you're looking at a team that, has a lot to be excited about. And it was an impressive win, there's no question about it.
And Colorado with a big win along with the Philadelphia Wings. It's a goal for Thompson officially. Congrats on his first. Drafted 16th overall in 2019 out of Marquette. The Toronto native to another. He's going to get some high fives and hand pounds there.
It's kind of interesting, the Rush have sort of had everybody else's number, yet the FireWolves have had the Rush's number.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about that a little bit before the game.
Right. I agree. A complete 60-minute performance, especially where things went sort of in the second quarter into the third when Saskatchewan went on a 3-0 run, but quickly quieted by Nardella and Banesh coming over from Panther City.
Q had a great goal when it was, 5-4. His goal to make it 6-5, and then I think Nards dunked it to make it 7-5. Is that right?
Yeah, 5-4, then 6-4 from Q and Nardella respectively, but you're spot on it. Those 2 guys were key to stop that run for the Rush. The shot that's knocked down. Another chance here inside for the Rush, trying to get their 6th tonight. 2 seconds to go. Congratulations to the Albany FireWolves, their first win as an organization, as Albany gets it done tonight, 10-5. Over the Saskatchewan Rush, and a lot to celebrate in the capital city.
Yeah, they got to be happy with the win for sure. But I think that even beyond that, as they look over the course of the season, they just got to be happy with how they rectified certain areas, really all of the areas for the most part, from the last game until this game. That's the thing I think Coach Clark is going to be so happy about, which is feeling like they're on the right track with what they're doing schematically, balancing, letting these guys use their creativity on the offensive end with scheme support, and then certainly on the defensive end, staying connected, having responsible rotations, and giving Doug Jamieson all the support that they can. Critical for a full team win.
Albany takes it tonight over Saskatchewan. We'll continue our action here as Albany with win number 1 in the books and plenty more to come. Stick around. It's a final tonight for Albany, a 10-5 winner over the Saskatchewan Rush, getting some late goals by Q. Also Tanner Thompson on a penalty shot They take it over the Rush as the Rush fall to 1-3. Albany will improve to 1-2. Kids having a great time tonight at MVP Arena. And let's go downstairs. Ashley standing by with Doug Jamieson, who was lights out tonight in the cage. Ashley.
He was indeed, Doug, after that game against Rochester. How nice is it to bounce back and get the first win as a franchise with the FireWolves?
It's huge. After the way we came out the last time around, we kind of had a flat game, and it kind of stewed for a couple weeks there over the holidays. So it's awesome to get that first win, especially against a good team like that. They're a great championship team, so it's definitely great for morale.
We talk so much about this offense getting going. How much do you love to see a 3-0 lead as a goalie?
It's huge when we start like that, because great momentum, and last game it was kind of the other way around, and it was nice to be on the other end of it tonight.
How much of a weapon is Nards at the faceoff? He won, I think, 14 of 18, and that goal was really a turning point.
Yeah, he was dominant tonight, especially at the end there when they really need the possessions, and Nards is almost unbeatable. It's huge for us.
Congratulations on the win, Doug.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Ashley, thank you. Phenomenal job tonight. As always, you take a look at the final numbers, and Ashley just mentioned it with Nardella at the faceoff dot. Also led to the success moving forward in transition.
Nardella is a killer. Their stat was 15 for 19, and I know 2 draws he did not take, and they lost both of those. So if Nards took the other 17, he was 15 for 17, 1-1, including a momentum seizing goal. Just impressive.
So once again, congratulations to Albany getting their first win. They improved to 1-2. The Rush fall to 1-3. Benesh, Resiteritz, and Q had 2 goals each. Robert Church on the flip side for the Rush had a hat trick. Final tonight is 10-5 as Albany takes the win over the Rush. For our producer Joel Kinte, Andy Towers, Ashley Miller, our entire crew, this is Dave Leno.